Welcome to That Life Podcast with
Leah.
and Sean. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't, please do so. Like, share, and subscribe on our platforms at YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify.
And welcome back as we close out for season 11. We're so excited that you guys are here with us today. We know that we're having some tech issues yet again. Just technology is just always doing what it does. But that's why we call the show That's Life, because we have to learn how to rebound from all things, even as it relates to technology. I'm so glad to see you guys. We hope that when you come in the building, you let us know that you're here. But as you know, we always deal with our sponsors. So our sponsors of the night is Carnissa Lux. If you're looking for an entrepreneur who is good at what she does in terms of hair, this is the lady for you. Go and support this young lady who is doing great things in our community. You can go to her IG page at Carnissa Lux. And in case you need her information, it's below on the ticker as well too. So utilize that, please, in your spirit. Please, ma'am, please, sir. Also, if you're looking to advertise your small business or product, consider using That's Life. We're a platform that supports all small businesses. So we're here just for you. Again, I do want to preface this by saying we are having technology issues, as we always typically do on our show, but we just ask you to pack your patience because we have a really good show for you guys tonight, okay? So on tonight's episode, we're going to talk about how AI is changing the world. Y'all, AI is a real thing. Things are really happening in real time as it relates to AI. And I'm super excited back about AI. We're going to talk a little bit about all the things that are happening in the world as it relates to such. So when we come back from our commercial break, we're going to kick straight off into the show and talk about how AI is changing the world. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, my name is Talisa McKnight, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and about my business and answer a couple of questions that I get on a daily basis. So I own Carnissa Lux Hair Braiding Services. Hey guys, my name is Talisa McKnight, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and about my business and answer a couple of questions that I get on a daily basis. So I own Carnissa Lux Hair Braiding Services. I'm 18 years old. I am a home-based hairstylist, and I will also travel. I've known how to braid hair since I was 4 years old. I started accepting clients a little bit over 3 years ago, and I started Carnissa Lux a year ago. Some of the services I offer are knotless braids, tribal braids, cornrows, island twists, invisible locks, quick weaves, braided ponytails. However, I do offer invisible locks. I don't do any type of natural locks or soft locks. Another thing you should know about my business is I am text and DM to book only. With that being said, please follow me on Instagram at Carnissa Lux. Thank you guys. Bye.
Welcome to That's Life Podcast with Leah
And
Sean.
we're going to get it together, y'all. We have tech issues today, but it is all good. We're so excited about our final show as we talk about how AI is changing the world with our very special guest, Meredith Hurston. As you know, AI is a real thing, y'all, and it's becoming more transparent and it's becoming more prevalent as we go into the world today. AI is everywhere. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, I do have to apologize in advance that we do have tech issues, but stay patient because this will be a very good, informative show to educate, empower, and encourage you, okay? So as you all know, we give you stats. That's one of the things that we look forward to on our show. And we're going to start with our first statistic of the night. This comes from McKinsey.com. AI, or artificial intelligence, is a machine's ability to perform some cognitive functions we usually associate with the human minds. From CourseRA.org, AI uses and refers it by using computer systems and a wide range of technologies. And as you all know, AI is, like I said, becoming a real prevalent thing that's happening in real time. Sean is going to read the next stat of the night as it relates to AI. So Sean, take it away.
From the National University website, the most common ways consumers use AI are by answering texts or emails, answering financial questions, and making travel plans. The top ways consumer uses AI are as follows. Responding to people via text and email, 45%. Answering financial questions is 43%. Plan travel is 38%. Craft an email is 31%. Prepare for a job interview, guys, is 30%. Write a social media post is 25%. Summarize complex and or long copy, 19%. A survey by Pew Research found that 55% of Americans said they regularly use AI, while 44% believe they do not regularly use it. According to research from AIPRM, the most common ways people use AI in the workplace are email spam filters, 78.5%. Wow, that's a lot, y'all. Chatbots for customer service questions, 62.2%. I gotta admit, I've seen it a couple of times on my own. And virtual assistants, 61.4%. Wearable fitness devices or trackers, 50.6%. Algorithmic recommendations through playlists, 48.5% for personal use.
And y'all, these are just a few figures that we found in terms of AI. AI is used everywhere. And I know that some of us would even say that, we don't really use AI, but we are using it more frequently than we actually think that we are using. I'm excited about introducing our very special guest, Meredith Hurston. Meredith, welcome to the show. Thank you for being part of it today.
Hey, Leah. Hey, Sean. How are you, ladies?
We are great, despite the fact that we have, ironically, tech issues as we're talking about AI. We are doing great and are so glad that you are a part of our show tonight. Tell the people a little bit about who you are, what you do, just a little bit of background about you.
So I am Meredith Hurston with the Magovey Group. That is a AI consulting and training company that I founded last year. And I have been in the AI
And it seems like we are frozen. Hopefully, Meredith, are you there? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. I think it might be a delay.
It looks like it is. And that's the interesting part of it. So we're going to ask the...
Now I can't hear you guys.
I mean, listen.
I think AI is hacking our computers. They don't want us talking about it.
I think so. So we're asking, just tell us a little bit about your background, about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Meredith Hurston with the Magovey Group. I have an AI training and consulting company, and I have been playing around with AI probably. Oops. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear
I've
you.
been
I'm
playing.
sorry. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you definitely now.
Oh, okay, great. So I've been playing around with AI probably since like 2019, and I kind of happened into the field as a result of my day job. So I work in healthcare, and I was like assigned, I had been doing a task for like many years. It was kind of monotonous, a little bit boring, but very important. And I was like, there has to be a way that, technology or the computer can assist me with doing this. So I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of looking into what's called machine learning, which is a type of artificial intelligence. And it was very complicated, but some time went on, the pandemic happened, time went on, and Midjourney, the AI art generator, came out. So I started playing around with that. And I just kind of fell in love with AI generated images and started learning Midjourney. And then ChatGPT came on the scene maybe a few months later, started playing around with that. And just learned a lot, found out how beneficial it could be. So that's how I ended up in this space and showing other people how to use it, because it really is kind of a little bit of science and art to it. So showing other people how to get acclimated to this technology, because I feel like it can be a powerful tool and I don't want us to be left behind.
Absolutely. And I would definitely say, if I'm honest, I do AI all the time, but even just to hear sometimes the word AI, it kind of cringes me a little bit, if I'm honest. But I know that the technology world that we live in, it's headed in that direction. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this open conversation about all over the place. And again, I do have to preface this by saying our apologies about technology. Technology is going to do whatever it does. That's part of the reason why we call the show That's Life, because sometimes life just happens the way that it happens, right? But we are going to talk about how AI has changed the world, because it is changing and evolving every single day. We've heard different reports about things on Facebook and on YouTube, definitely as it relates to that, as well as the doctor's office and things like that.
Absolutely.
So Sean is going to ask the first question of the night. So Sean.
Okay. My first question is, what are your personal feelings towards artificial intelligence?
So I love most of the tools. I think that we can use them for good. We can use, like, AI is kind of like I look at it as like a personal assistant. There's different types of AI, but I look at AI as like my personal assistant, like the various tools. Like, it makes life easier for me, like in work and business. So that's my personal feelings. I feel like everybody should learn how to use the tools and use them to their advantage, not, for nefarious and, to act in bad ways, but to learn how to use it to make life easier, to work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. And we know that technology has been something that has metamorphosized, and some people are resistant to change. I know that I was definitely resistant to change when it came to AI. But one of the things that you have to realize is that, if you don't make yourself knowledgeable about it, how are you going to learn how to adapt to it? So that's the biggest thing as it relates to it. My question to you, Meredith, is what do you think are citizens and consumers' biggest fear as it relates to AI? Because like I said, some of us are resistant to it. What do you think is the biggest fear factor that they have as it relates to AI?
So some people, I don't think they really articulated to me why they're afraid, but they use the word fear. Like, I'm afraid of AI, and I'm like, well, what is it about it that scares you? And they're just like, I don't know. I'm just afraid of it. And I think sometimes, I don't know if it's people that some that may not be tech savvy. They don't understand, how it works. I think some people's concerns are the data that it's trained on. I think they feel like it's an or could be an invasion of privacy. A lot of people have concerns about when they use like a tool like ChatGPT. Like, is this, taking my information, and is it going to, train the model on my information? And the answer to that is probably yes, depending on which version of ChatGPT you're using. So those are valid concerns, and I think that we have to understand the terms and conditions of the different tools that we're using. And that said, terms and conditions are really long documents. Like, it's a lot of words on the page, and I'll be honest, like, I don't always read them. I might scan it, but I'm not sitting there reading, a 3,000 word terms and conditions. And a lot of times it's legalese and you can't understand it. Well, I won't say you, but I can't understand it anyway. So I'm just kind of skimming to make sure nothing looks, really crazy. And I'm like, okay, check the little box and keep it moving. But you never know. I won't say you never know, but sometimes you might be agreeing to terms that allow people to allow systems to train on your data. So I think that's some of the biggest concerns I've heard people articulate. But some people, I think they're just tech averse, and they just don't they just don't want to get on board yet.
Absolutely. And I can absolutely understand that to be because shout out to my mom. My mother is completely against technology. She is deaf when it comes to technology, right? And so for someone that is technically not as savvy as that, it would definitely be intimidating, and it definitely can be something that can cause a lot of anxiety, especially now in the industries and all the things that are connected to AI. Absolutely. Sean's going to ask the next question.
Actually, my next question is, do you think that artificial intelligence has... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is probably like a 7-second delay or something like that. I feel like 5 or 7-second delay. But I was going to say, like, your mom, does she use like the cell phone, or does she use like anything that's like voice activated? Because those are artificial intelligence tools, and sometimes I think people may not be aware, like if they use like speech to text and stuff like that, or like if they talk to Siri, the voice assistant, those are AI tools.
No, ma'am.
No.
No parts. None of that.
That's funny. Okay.
My mother is the type of personality, like, if she has a technical issue, she will call me from home. She will call my brother to have conversations about technical issues. She wants no parts of it. And I think a lot of it is fear, but I think a lot of it is just frustration of how much technology evolves. It evolves so fast.
Yeah.
So by the time you get ready to want to get to learn something, it's switching to something else. And so I think for people who are not tech savvy, that could definitely be intimidating and overwhelming. And like you said, the conditions as well too, because think about it, like when you get a credit card, who's reading the fine print on a credit card? Is anybody reading the fine print on a credit card?
Nope.
I don't know anybody who's doing that, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's some, but most people are not.
Absolutely. Most people are not. So when you're reading the fine lines and the things that happen in technology, it's the same thing. And I think that that's part of what it is. It's the ability to say, I don't know if I want to learn technology because it's evolving and changing so much. And to have to learn something, and then in maybe a month, I have to learn something else. No, I'm good.
Absolutely.
It's definitely evolving.
All right, next question of the super rapid, like super rapid. Like, we can even talk about StreamYard. We can talk about all type of platforms that change and evolve all over the place. Absolutely. So, Sean, next question of the night.
Next question is, do you think that artificial intelligence has made our world better or worse? And why do you believe this?
Great question.
That is a good question. So I feel like it has made our world better, but I definitely think there's, it's pulling both ways, because it's like the yin and the yang. There's good and there's bad. I would say I think the good outweighs the bad. Because like I said, I use it as like an assistive tool, like as a business owner, like you guys have the podcast, like you can use AI tools to like help you with your marketing and, all sorts of things, like to get ideas and not necessarily do your work for you, but get it to assist you with your work. It's an assistive tool. At the same time, there are people that are bad actors and use some of the technology for nefarious reasons, like one of the tools, 11 Labs, which will allow you to like clone your voice. People use that to do inappropriate things. Some of the AI art generators that aren't censored, like you may be able to create images of people in compromising positions. So those are things that you can do that have negative consequences, but I think the positives, the good that can be done with artificial intelligence, in my opinion, far outweighs the bad. But I definitely think we need to be aware of the negative things and the bad actors that are at work using these tools as well. So
Absolutely. And as we know, with anything, with good comes bad. It's the yin and the yang effect. And so
Mhm.
that's to be expected with anything. I could even talk about, I remember when Roblox was hot and like all the kids were losing their mind over Roblox, right? And Roblox was supposed to be this wonderful thing for young people to be able to go to and have like their own game where they could intermix with people. But what ended up becoming the fact is that there was a lot of hidden things, dark things that were inside of Roblox that were not children appropriate. And we saw that far too often with situations where children were, called out into sex rooms and just different things that were inappropriate. So we know that AI, there's some good aspects of AI, but we also know that there's some dark spots in AI as well too. Absolutely. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue on the conversation about how AI is changing the world. We thank all of you for your patience and packing your patience as we have tech issues, but I promise we're going to do our best to continue on with the show, as this is our final show for season 11. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue on the conversation, how AI is changing the world. We'll be right back.
1 out of 8. 1 out of every 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. 1 out of 8. 1 out of every 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. Walking on an unpaved road, a story of life, faith, healing, and redemption. It's my story, a journey when I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017. In June of 2020, I decided to chronicle my journey of breast cancer. My intention was to educate, empower, and encourage women that look just like me. For all those that are in the fight, know that I stand in solidarity with you. You could purchase your copy of Walking on an Unpaved Road on Amazon and stay tuned for the digital release of our book in 2025. Thank you for all your love and support. And for those that are in the fight, know that I stand in solidarity with you. Want to advertise your business or product on That's Life Podcast? Email us at thatslife0320@gmail.com. We offer several packages just for you, including ticker, flyer, voiceover, videos created by us or by you to air, or all 4. We have a few slots available just for you. For packaging and pricing, email us at thatslife0320@gmail.com.
Welcome back to That's Life Podcast with
Leah
and Sean.
Y'all listen, tech issues are real. We had to do a switcheroo during the commercial break, but thank you so much for tuning in as we talk about how AI is changing the world with our very, very special guest, Meredith Hurston. We're so excited about having her expertise on the show as we talk about AI. AI is always changing and evolving, you guys. Even for us on a platform like StreamYard, we are constantly evolving. Things are constantly changing in real time. And it's important to discuss how those things impact us. My question of the night to you, Meredith, is what is your opinion about filtering on social media apps? Now, I'm going to say this before you answer that question. This young lady here to the left of me is against filtering.
I can't stand filtering. Nope.
She can't stand it. Literally can't stand it. Our daughter is a big time filter. Shout out to her because every time she's on Snapchat or TikTok or anything, she's filtered.
Can't stand it.
What is your opinion about filtering?
So, it's like a mixed bag for me. So I sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Like when I'm posting pictures like on Instagram or something, I tend to not use filters. It depends. I haven't played with Snapchat in years, but I remember when it first started and it was like, the little dog ears and the little tongue. You stick your tongue out or whatever. That I don't know how many years ago. That might have been like 10 years ago. But it's been so long since I've been on Snapchat. But I like some of the filters that are on like CapCut. I feel like filters are such a broad term now because it's basically like video special effects that are included along with the filters. Because like if you use CapCut or TikTok or something, it's like all of these different things you can do, to your face. So it's not really filters. I don't use as many filters when I post like just a selfie on Instagram. But one of the things that I teach is stable diffusion. So that's like the biggest class that I teach that I've like had the most students is showing people how to use stable diffusion, and I show them how to create images in their own likeness. So basically that's just really fancy filters. It's AI generated images like with your face or with my face. So it's a version.
So I'll say this about filtering, and I don't mean to interrupt you, just so that you know. I feel like I'm filtered currently, right? I have on makeup, right? It's a form of kind of changing how you look or enhancing how you look.
Adornment,
and I'm a big time get on Snapchat real quick and throw on the sunshine on me and look illuminated or look, bright. But this one here, she's having no parts of it.
Nope. And if you put a filter on me, I'm not gonna be natural. I'm gonna be real goofy. Not doing it.
So now I will say, what was the name of the app? I can't remember. I had an acquaintance that was using this app and I didn't like the way the filter looked. And I'm like, can you send me the picture without the filter? It would look very pixelated. I can't describe it. So I'm not always a fan of filters. I think it really depends. What I'm not a fan of is being deceptive with filters. Sometimes you can be so heavily filtered that you don't even look like yourself anymore. Like if you're on a dating app or not even a dating app, you got a LinkedIn profile that's all filtered up. You show up to the interview and they're like, who is this? Like, this is not who we saw down to the LinkedIn. So I think use them with caution or just I'm not sure. I'm not a fan of heavily filtering my pictures, but that's just me.
Yeah, and even think about pictures back in the day, right? Like when we did pictures, Polaroid pictures, sometimes those things did not look like us, right? Like even when we did certain pictures in the studio, when we went to a studio and did professional pictures, they do, the different sepias and the different black and white, backgrounds. So that was a form of filtering without it, of course, being labeled as a filter, if you will. But it seems, I know I can understand your grievance with it because sometimes people take it so far to the other extent where you don't even really know who the natural person is. So I can get that.
That is definitely my point.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a form of catfish to me. It's like
it
I can see the real you.
It
I don't need those type of things.
That's exactly what it is. It can be a form of catfishing. But even like Zoom, they have where you can it's called touch up your appearance.
They have it on StreamYard as well too. On platform. We could literally, if I wanted to right now, I could change how we all look right now in a filter.
Don't do that.
And it would probably blow your mind, because you're like, wait a minute, I remember having a blemish right here. I remember having freckles, and those things are not existent when you have certain filters on.
I'm telling you right now, if you did that, I would get up and walk.
So this is kind of a sidebar, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but like, as someone that creates AI images, like one of the challenges, like when the technology was very new, you see like a lot of like bad like facial distortion and things of that nature when the technology was really, you know, very early. It's gotten much better now, but you could take those images over into like Photoshop. So Photoshop has AI in it now, so you can like move the eye, you can like change the position of the mouth, you can do all of this stuff. So I know, you know, you were mentioning like, you know, how like back in high school, like when you take your senior pictures or whatever, you could get like the sepia tone or, you know, black and whites or whatever, and they would like touch up, you know, airbrush the pictures or whatever and make them look, you know, a little nicer, like if you had, you know, teenage acne. But like these modern day filters and AI filters are a totally different ball game.
They're out of control. That's all I can say, is that they're literally some of them are almost out of control.
It's almost to the point where you can't even tell what's real or fake. And even with one that I saw where you take a picture and you can adjust where the position is in the picture, I'm like, but that takes away the naturalness of the picture,
the cameo of the picture.
Exactly. I mean, I'm good.
I can understand to some degree what her complaint is.
Okay.
Speaking of AI,
well,
you have the next question of the night.
Oh, so, I do I?
Yes.
Okay. Well, back up here we have, do you think artificial intelligence will impact jobs? Why or why not?
Very good question.
Keep my opinion to myself.
That's a great question. And absolutely, I do think that AI is going to impact jobs. I feel like it's already impacting jobs. I think since probably the top of the year, we've heard a lot about tech companies doing layoffs. And I think it's a result of like their AI implementation. You know, some of it is a result of their AI implementation plans. And some of it, I think, is correction from overhiring, you know, during the pandemic. But I think some of it is also related to AI. And I guess my official stance on whether or not it's going to impact jobs is, or, you know, like replace people in their jobs. I don't necessarily think that I heard this quote that kind of sums it up pretty well for me. I don't think that AI is going to replace like jobs per se. It's people knowing how to use AI that is going to replace like some people in their jobs. And that's why I feel really strongly about, you know, trying to teach as many people as I can, like how to use these tools and to help allay some people's fears and how to use them smartly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can speak on something that's close to home for me, is that with me having cancer, one of the things that has become a very real possibility for me is meeting my nurses that are AI and talking to someone that's AI driven, not a human being. It's a chat, essentially a chat bot. And I was asked the question, how would I feel if I ever had to be in that type of position? And it's a 50-50 for me. Obviously, I know that technology is evolving and changing all the time, but it's nothing like the empathy and the human interaction that you have, the compassion that you have when someone is going through something medically, especially something like cancer. And so I know that potentially it could go there. It could definitely go there where I'm not talking to, let's say, Nurse Meredith or Nurse Sean. I'm going to be talking to the chat box, and it's still going to be a labeled name, but there won't be any real-time interaction. It won't be like, let me pray for you type of thing, or those type of human emotions that we feel when we're going through things. And so it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to hear it, but I know that I'm going to have to eventually maybe try to have to come to terms with that.
I'm gonna be real in this seriousness here. I can't name the movie, but it's a certain movie out there that has nothing but AIs. I need people to listen. We following down the track. Can we not follow down the track of movies? I know people say it's just movies, but there's some truth behind the movie that's people testing it. Like, how many people would deal with this or are okay with this?
Yeah.
But it never ends good.
Well, and the thing about it is that it could kind of go either way, right? Like I've done lots of surveys about chatbots and those type of things and how I feel about them. And like I said, I'm 50-50 about it. I know that eventually technology is going to lead us into a place where, like, we know layoffs are real. People are going to end up losing their jobs because everything is going in the direction of AI. But it's also a very nerve-wracking possibility. If I'm honest, that's just how I feel about it. It doesn't have to be, but I know that as things change, as the world changes, there's things that we have to adapt to and learn how to adapt to. So
Absolutely, but those are very real concerns, that you raised, and that gives me pause. So I work in healthcare. I'm a career healthcare professional. I've worked in healthcare for over 25 years, so that definitely resonates with me. And I think that as healthcare organizations look to integrate artificial intelligence, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with Epic MyChart. Do you?
I am.
Yeah, so my chart is a product of I don't know if it's Epic Corporation, but the large electronic health record system for medical records, and they are integrating ChatGPT into like their after visit summaries and helping them to write like their progress notes and things like that for their patient visits. And I think it's helpful in that regard. Pawning off all of the conversation and care that a patient requires to a chatbot, I hope that doesn't happen. I have not heard conversation about that happening. I think that organizations have to think very carefully through and be strategic with how they deploy artificial intelligence and in the ways in which they and the causes that they choose to tackle with artificial intelligence. So my thought process and my approach is that artificial intelligence is to assist the human, it's not to replace the human. So even if there were to be a chat bot that would field questions, like if you have a question or concern, you're experiencing a symptom of a medication, or you aren't feeling quite right and you want to come in for a checkup to make sure you're not having a recurrence or something like that. Those are conversations that need to be fielded by a human. You may start off with the chat bot, but that's something that in the programming, the chatbot needs to hand that off to a human. Okay, pause. This is beyond, my level of what I'm supposed to be doing. Let me, ring to the human and get the human on the phone. And they can be programmed in that way. Chatbots are not, fail proof, but you can definitely build a lot of logic, a lot of conditional logic into them, and have them do like some basic level responding and pass it off to a human when necessary. So I definitely don't think that piece of it should go away, because it's far too sensitive and requires compassion and empathy to have artificial intelligence managing a whole episode of care for an oncology patient, really any patient, but particularly oncology patients and people dealing with autoimmune sensitive, serious sensitive conditions.
And I'm glad that you said that, because I think that that's important to drive the fact that although our world is changing all the time as it relates to technology, that there still should be some things in place that are foolproof. We know that we need doctors, we need nurses, we need those type of people in the general assembly of what we're doing. And it's important that we don't lose sight of, as we're evolving in technology, especially when we see other countries that are technically advanced more than we are. It's important that we don't lose sight of the things that are important, including the doctors and the necessary people that kind of fuel and make the society that we have right now. Absolutely. We're going to take a quick commercial break. I know we went over time. We're so glad to now not having lag and no issues. But now we're at our halftime show. And at our halftime show, we teach you a minute with something, whether it be a minute with the mechanic, minute with the savings queen, minute with the mini chef. But we're going to make you laugh tonight on our last episode with the Minute with the Flavor King. We'll be right back.
Enjoy.
Welcome to A Minute with the Flavor King. Today we're going to be talking about Scoville units. Scoville units, named after Wilbur Scoville, is the unit of measure of spiciness in peppers and hot sauce and anything. So on that scale, it's a chemical compound called capsaicin. Capsaicin is literally just the chemical in peppers that make it spicy. On the lowest part of the Scoville unit is the bell pepper, which is 0 Scoville units. So we're gonna bite into it. It's not spicy. It's a low heat. It's no heat whatsoever. The next on that list, which is a poblano pepper, is between the bell pepper and the jalapeno. It's a little more than a bell pepper. It's not a lot though. The next on that list is a jalapeno. Jalapeno is between poblano and Scotch bonnet. The seeds make it spicier, so, you know, it's a natural chemical. And now for the last one, Scotch bonnet. This one, don't try it at home, guys, because this. Oh, help me, guys! And now you have it. That's A Minute with the Flavor King. Can I have some more ice now, Mom?
You thought the journey was over? It's not over till it's over. In 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a journey that I went through for 2 years and went into remission. In 2021, I was diagnosed again with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. This journey has challenged me and stretched me beyond places I couldn't believe. Yet Still I Rise is part 2 of the life that I'm living with breast cancer. It is still here to educate, empower, and encourage women who are just like me on the breast cancer journey. Our pre-sales will start in June of 2024, as the book will be due to release next year in 2025. Please support me as you once did in purchasing our second book, Yet Still I Rise. For all those that are going through breast cancer and metastatic breast cancer, know that I'm on your side.
Welcome to That's Life Podcast with
Leah
and Sean
and Meredith, as we had some serious technological issues at the beginning, but I'm glad that we're back and we're able to talk about how AI is changing the world. Y'all, AI is real, and I think that if we're honest about it, we need to kind of all get used to AI. AI is not going anywhere. It's only going to actually advance as time proceeds and keeps going forward. I'm just reminded by what I see in Japan, just how technologically savvy they are over there. And it's just amazing to see AI in real form. It's also nerve-wracking, but we're going to all get through it together because that's just what we have to do.
I'm going to go crying underneath the bed. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, jeez. No,
Hey.
want to.
Woo. That's all I can say. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do our stats of the night. As you know, we give you tips and tools and ways so that you can kind of get, used to the topic at hand. And of course, we're talking about AI. So we're going to talk about ways that you can get ready for AI. And of course, as I'm dealing with AI issues again, we don't have our tips up, but that's okay because we have it written down right here on our cue card.
It's called AI. Take over.
So Sean's going to read the first tip of the night.
All right, the first tip of the night is be curious. Embrace the change.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. AI, they're saying from gloomy predictions of AI doomsday to the boundless potential of new opportunities, one thing is certain, AI is here to stay. Love it or hate it, it's here to stay. Instead of burying our heads in the sand, like some people, and waiting to see what happens, the smartest approach you can is to be curious and embrace the change. Remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So roll your sleeves up and get involved. My question to you, Meredith, is what are some ways that someone who has resistance to AI, what can they do to be able to embrace the change? Because we know that it's here to stay. So what can we do as consumers to get ready for all things AI?
Drop EMP.
So, Sean, have you tried ChatGPT yet?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I don't know.
It's probably safe to say no.
So, no.
So I feel like that's a good like place to start. Like if you have not, tried AI tools, like start with ChatGPT, maybe go and say, name 5 things that you have like in your refrigerator or your pantry and ask it to, help you decide on what to make for dinner, that night. And you might be surprised. Ask it to give you like 5 ideas and see what happens.
Hallelujah for saying, what's she gonna make for dinner? Hallelujah.
Pancakes.
We're gonna do something else.
It's nothing wrong with pancakes for dinner. Or I mean, like if chicken is your favorite protein or something, you could say, what's some variations on, how I can switch it up. This is what I've been doing. How can I switch it up? Like I love artificial intelligence for ideating. And besides like using ChatGPT, like if you like Netflix, or I know that you guys have the podcast on Spotify. I don't use Spotify because I have Apple Podcasts. I have an iPhone, so I don't pay for Spotify. But don't they like recommend like based on like things that you like? It'll recommend, oh, you like hip hop, you might like this song. Those are like artificial intelligence. So you might be a user and you may be an involuntary user already.
So the funny thing about all of that is you literally stepped all over her feet without stepping over her feet. And
My bad.
her, of course, that's why she's over here trying to avoid me like the plague, because those are the things that you do regularly. You always question about what can I make for dinner, or
I don't ask the phone. I don't ask Chat GPT. I didn't even know anything about Chat.
It's okay. Now knowledge is power.
And so like ChatGPT, like they have like a phone app. So like, and then like Google has artificial intelligence built into it now. So it's a bunch of different ways.
Listen, I'm not going to say her name because if I say her name, she's going to start talking. She talks to Google all the time.
That's because you told me to just ask it first.
And SIRI and ALEXA.
She don't always listen.
They're all, AIs that you get ideas from, get information from.
I'm loving this.
I don't even gang up on me.
It's okay. Ooh, I know it's just hard. It's
Move
okay.
on to the next step.
Next step of the night.
Output is not the same as creativity.
Okay, so let's talk about it. AI's capabilities are very impressive, as we just talked about. You can even ask for recipes. You can do really cool things. This is the thing to remember, that it's improving all the time with the rise in popularity and accessibility of AI and image generators. It's totally understandable that people are in a creative industry and might feel creative. However, there's always a however. However, let's keep in mind that true creativity is more than just creating things that look nice on the surface. It's also about asking the right questions, thinking outside of the box, and finding innovative solutions. So my question to you, Meredith, is, do you believe that AI has made us somewhat lazy?
Yes. Sorry, not me.
That is a good question. I'm gonna say no. And I'll explain why. The reason why I say no is because you really have to learn how to get the most out of AI. You have to learn how to use it. And I think that requires like a little bit of tenacity and skill and determination. I think it's lazy to like for a student or like even adult, like if you have an assignment and you just go to chat GPT and say, hey, I have to write a science paper about geology, write my paper for me. And you just take whatever it gives you and, throw it in the Word and put your name on it. That's lazy. Um, but and that's also not ethical. People shouldn't be doing that. I know people do that, but they shouldn't, be doing that. If you sit down with ChatGPT and say, hey, I have to write a paper about geology and I want to talk about I want to cover these 3 points, or ask it, to help you with your outline or something like that, that's different. I think that it can help you do your work, but it takes a little bit of know-how and ingenuity to really to get good quality outputs out of artificial intelligence. If you're trying to be lazy and just tell it to do something for you, people are going to know.
And
it's going to be clearly obvious
for all the students in the world, because we have 2 teenagers who, let's just be for real. This generation, Gen Z and Gen A, are different. Okay, they just are. And they have technology and that on their side, which is something we did not have on our side coming up.
No, we had more work than they did.
Yeah, we had encyclopedias. Like if you needed to go find it, you looked inside of your Britannica, and that's what you looked at. And when we got our computers, we were almost on the outs of high school. So for the most part, we didn't really have the navigation to be able to go to and do the AI things that they are.
We had nothing.
Yeah, it was
CD-ROM.
You had America Online, where you got to change out the disc.
Hello.
And don't let somebody call the phone
while you're in the middle of using
it. It's all over with.
It's tough. Y'all know nothing about that. Okay, moving on to the next point.
It's gonna shake my head. It's a tool, not a person.
So this is the thing. And I'm glad that you talked about Chat GPT, because this is one of the things that it talks about. Have you ever started a Chat GPT prompt with "can you" or "would you"? Maybe you've thrown in thanks after getting some output. I know I did, and I know I've done that several times on Google.
The response is hilarious.
Absolutely. As humans, we tend to see human-like qualities in things that aren't human, like animals or objects. So when an AI system responds to us using language and sounds like a person, we naturally want to treat it as one. Here's the thing to recognize. Recognizing that AI is a tool to help us has the realistic expectations and ensures that we don't forget that it's not a human being. It's not a real person. Okay. My question to you, Meredith, is, should AI be implemented in education as a subject, particularly as it relates to teaching in the school system?
Absolutely. Because it goes back to, I think, something you said just a few minutes ago, like Gen Z and Gen A. I don't have any children in the home, so I don't have any kids in the educational system. But I know that they're using these tools. I feel like kids are really advanced. A friend of mine, actually, her son's birthday is today. When he was like 1 year old, he was using the phone, like calling people, finding YouTube videos at 1. And I'm like, I don't understand. How do you know how to do it? So I think that, kids, they have these tools on their phone. So they're probably using ChatGPT to help them with their homework. And I think it's incumbent upon educators and people that are building the curriculum for our young people to show them how to use it as an assistive tool. And again, not to do their work for them, to help them, work out math problems, not just solve the problem for them, have them, think through it critically. I think one of the concerns that a lot of adults have is that it's going to take away the critical thinking skills from our kids. And I think that we need to incorporate that into the education. How can AI, help you with your critical thinking skills? I think it's an opportunity because kids, I'm not an educator, but how kids learn. You know, some students are visual, auditory learners, people that, learn by reading. Like, I think there's 4 different styles of learning. So I think that AI can help, kids with their various modalities for learning for sure. So I definitely
Absolutely.
to be incorporated into the curriculum for sure. And I actually know someone, she specializes in that. She is an educator and she's building out programming to work with school systems to integrate AI into their curriculum.
Absolutely. So I'll give you 2 things. My niece was bad on a computer at 2 years old. Like, sister girl could navigate me better through YouTube probably than I could ever at my age at that time.
It's wild to see it, isn't it?
They are, when I say they're crazy good in terms of all the things that they can find, it's obnoxious. I also say to that is that I do definitely believe that critical thinking should be something that should be implemented absolutely with AI. And the reason being is that when a lot of our children graduate from high school, they have no critical thinking skills.
Nope.
And then they go to college and they are literally, like she said, like they're like lame ducks. They don't know anything from anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to implement critical thinking to AI makes sense. We know that everybody learns different. I learn by seeing, touching, feeling. Some people don't learn that way. Some people can read a book and bam, it's in their brain, it's imprinted. And so that is the beautiful part about AI, is that it could definitely make our educational system better as long as we're focusing on the good aspects of it and not taking advantage of it.
I'm just afraid that it's just going to make the generation, like you said earlier, even more lazier. Even watching our kids now, hey, can you call such and such? They pick up the phone. Hey, the name of who. Can you call such? It's like, you can't even put the number in your phone. You can't just click on the person's name. No, it's easier.
It is easier, but we as parents have to do our part and just show them. That's all we can do. I mean,
Pretty soon they're gonna forget.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say with that, I think that we can't forget that they have to learn the fundamentals. Like, that's not optional. With all the technology that's out here, you can never forego the fundamentals. And it's important that you learn the fundamentals because we need the next generation of programmers. Like, we need people that are going to continue to maintain and improve this technology. So they have to learn the fundamentals, and so that they can continue building it and making it better. They have to understand how it works, not just to get the end result, not just to be a consumer, but also a producer. So you have to learn those technical, science, or we need someone to learn those technical science and math skills so that they can continue to, program. And as, members of a minority community, these tools were not trained with us in mind. So we need to continue trying to get a seat at the table so that we can be a part of the training so that it can benefit, us too, and not exclude us from the algorithm.
You better preach.
Thank you.
You better preach. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right.
Rethink AI as augmented intelligence.
I know my handwriting is scary. Let's change our perspective and look at AI as augmented intelligence as opposed to artificial intelligence. Instead of trying to copy or replace human intelligence, because we're not trying to do that, augmented intelligence works alongside, additionally to enhancing our abilities and advanced computer tools. That is the most important part of AI. It is a tool to be added to. So think about it like this. When back in the day when our grandmas used to make their cakes, they used to use their hands, right? They might have had their whisk or their wooden spoon, and then we upgraded to the KitchenAid. The KitchenAid wasn't necessarily to replace the old school. It was to just help the process along, to be an additional tool too. So I think
the hand mixer first. So it was the hand mixer first. So that was kind of like the internet.
That was the KitchenAid. How could I forget the hand mixer?
Yeah, the hand mixer was like the internet. So like AI is like the KitchenAid.
That's right. And there's nothing wrong with any of those tools, but as things change and evolve, it gets better over time, right? So we don't want to get so caught up on the KitchenAid that we forget how to use the hand mixer when we forget how to use the actual spoon and the old school method in that as well too.
Now y'all got me thinking about beaters.
Hey,
used to lick the dough.
Listen to me. I used to remember my mom making black cake with a wooden spoon. She never made it with a KitchenAid. She never made it. She might have made it with a hand mixer, but I remember her sitting there with a wooden spoon mixing. That's why I wanted to use that example, because I think sometimes in our brains we're like, oh, well, just use the KitchenAid. Okay, but what if the KitchenAid is broken, or what if it's not available?
Listen, perfect another example. What is in our cars now but a backup camera? Guess what? You're teaching your kid how to back up. First thing I'm gonna do is look at the camera.
Absolutely.
What if the screen go black? Now what? I don't know.
Right. There you
Use
go.
the mirrors. It's there. It's supposed to be an additive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
That was actually a really great example as well too.
That is a great example. I'm so heavily relying on that camera. So you know how, like, I feel like our parents, they used to put their arm over and they would turn around and back up. I never learned how to back up that way. I always had to look in the rearview mirror to back up, or look in my, side mirrors. I never could do this because I couldn't figure out the opposite way to
So Meredith, I'm going to tell you a funny story, and then we're going to move to, because this is going to tickle you. So we're teaching our teenage son right now how to drive. Guess how I taught him how to back up? And he don't know. He's like, which way do I turn the wheel?
Practice.
And I'm trying to teach him. I said, just look at the camera. I don't have time for it. It's just too much.
The next time I'm doing, take a piece of paper and cover the camera. Now what?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, but still, as technology changes, that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be looking at the backup camera.
Oh no! What they're going to do is buy a newer car that parks for you.
And guess what? They're doing that too now.
Exactly. It's like, what do I need to
have those? I don't trust it.
Yeah,
I'm in the whole auto technician. I don't trust.
It's strange. It's all strange.
I'm gonna back out of the
Number 5.
Be aware of ethical issues. See, we're just talking about that.
So AI isn't just about, again, fancy algorithms and cool technology. We talked about that. One of the big issues is bias. AI systems rely on human created databases, which can also introduce biases. These biases can influence decisions and outcomes. And again, we talked about the fact that when you're dealing with AI, it's not a substitute for human knowledge, right? Like, you got that paper that you have to do. Why are you going to wait until, let's say it's Monday, you're going to wait till Sunday and use AI to use your paper? That's not okay. Don't do that. It is there to be as an addition, not as a necessary thing to do. So remember that. My question to you, cool. Absolutely. And my question to you is this, Meredith. We see technology changing all over the world. Like, technology is definitely changing. Do you believe that the advancement of technology in other countries has made our country want to advance in AI faster? Why or why not?
I do think that other countries are wanting us to act faster, because I feel like the US and China are kind of like at the top of the AI race. And like, I think that, I don't know a lot about this, but as I understand it, like, some of the chips are made in China. So they're trying to bring all of, like, the chip manufacturing. I know that's like something that Elon Musk is working on, with the Tesla chips and NVIDIA chips and things like that. I think they're trying to get those manufactured in the United States, but China has their own, set of, tech stack that they're working on, and their own AIs, and they're, very siloed. But I do think that it's kind of like an arms race of sorts, for, who has the best technologies, just like, OpenAI has Sora that has not been released. I've seen some rumblings, on YouTube that a Chinese company has a very similar, application to Sora that is putting out just as good quality video, if not better, AI quality video. So their technology, I think, is pretty on par with ours. And I think there are some other countries that, may not be too far behind.
Yeah. And we're seeing it, y'all. It's in real time. If you're not paying attention, I suggest that you go to a tech fair, if there's one in your home state, and check out all technology that's coming, because some of the things that I have seen in real life, in real time, it's kind of mind-boggling. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So
yeah, and the artificial intelligence can be a matter of national security. It can be used, for nefarious reasons, to interfere in elections and do all sorts of things. So I think it's something that, at the federal level, definitely there needs to be governance and awareness for sure about what's going on around the world.
Jeez. And that's so real in and of itself. Okay. Number 6.
Understand the black box. Here we go.
The thing about AI is that it can get pretty complex, even with creators themselves not always knowing exactly their own systems and how they work. So here's the thing. AI isn't some magical wisdom stone or genie with all the answers. Behind AI, there are really cool patterns and rational technologies that are worth diving into. It's good to know how these massive databases are mined, how humans are evolved, and how bias can they creep into the results. So work with AI to see if you've got it handled. You can ask questions like, you need to say unknown makes unloved. Figure out some different things that you can do to kind of figure out what the black box is and to stay out of the black box. Also, this is something to remember. Let's start by understanding the basics and see if AI isn't mind-boggling as you think that it is. Because a lot of times we psych our own brains out about what it is.
Me?
That's her. Yeah,
I'll take accountability for it. Yep.
Absolutely. And then the last point is, and it's one word and one word only.
Play.
Play. We're still in the early stages of new technology, right? History has shown us that our initial assumptions can be completely off the mark.
Don't look at me.
Humans are naturally playful beings. We love taking things, flipping them around, and doing the unexpectedness, okay? Sometimes we have to find out what happens when we connect A and B and find out something completely different outside of the box. And that's one of the things that we know about technology, right? Like I said, it's ever evolving and ever changing. So what might be something today, you could figure out something completely different that maybe nobody else would have even known about where you are in terms of technology. So my last question to you of the night, Meredith, is what would you say to someone like this one who feels apprehensive about AI and what it's going to have on society, and what can they do? What's something small that they can do in order to feel less apprehensive about it?
Close my eyes.
So I would say be curious. And I think, you just hit on it a little bit ago, like play with it. Just, start using the tool. Know that you can't break it and that it doesn't get tired. Unlike, a human that gets tired of you asking them questions, that'll get annoyed and, cop an attitude. AI isn't going to do that. So you can keep asking it to iterate and iterate. That's not really what I was looking for. I was thinking more, this or that really is off the mark. That sounds crazy. Can you try again? Like, you can just keep asking it questions and it's not going to, get tired because it's a machine, and you can't break it. So that would be my advice to people that are apprehensive. And it's still in its infancy. It's still a very much developing technology. Over time, it is going to get better. If you have entrepreneurial aspirations, I think it's a technology, to learn to help you with your business. I think it'll help you grow your business and make more money. What else? And I just encourage people not to I just encourage people, not to be left behind, because I feel like this technology can be a great equalizer. I feel like a lot of times, as marginalized people, we get left behind with stuff. We just have access. Everybody that has a phone has access to this technology, if you're willing to, try it and use it. So I think that it can be a great equalizer in that regard. It's really hard for people to keep this from us. A lot of other stuff, people have kept from us. It's hard for this to be kept from us. So we can use that to our advantage. That's my thought process about it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you that if I'm honest about it, my family has, well, I'll say her. She has donned me the GOOGLE of the family.
She is.
Because my family literally will ask me all the questions. And I'm thankful to be, thorough and knowledgeable about some things. But sometimes it's just to get started, right?
Reboot.
So, no. So I always tell them, don't ask me. That's why you have a assist. Ask your assist or ask whatever you have around you. Absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about technology is that, even when we don't have the questions, somebody has the questions, right? We could go on to Yahoo and ask the question, or we could go on to Sister G, as I call her, because if I say her name, she'll act up. Sister G and ask the question, or Sister S and ask the question about whatever it is that we have a question about.
But here's the problem with that. When you ask the question about it, guess what? Later on down the line, you pop up your phone and all of a sudden stuff that you asked for months ago, weeks ago, is now on your phone showing advertisement on stuff that you looked at. Like, why are you listening to what I'm saying? That's kind of creepy.
It's creepy, but
for sure.
Mm-hmm. And it can be unnerving. I will say that. I won't justify that. It will be unnerving. But one of the things you're going to realize over time is that with anything, it has its kinks, right? It has its things that, like, even when we had a computer, before we had this beautiful laptop, can you imagine what, the baby boomers felt when a laptop came out? Like, what? Like, that was probably scary for them. When a cell phone, a smartphone came out, can you imagine how they felt? Like, so it's nerve-wracking, absolutely. But I believe that over time, when it comes to AI, augmented intelligence, we're going to find that it's not going to necessarily take the place of who we are as humans. It's just going to be something additional. It's gonna be good. We're gonna work it out with her. We're gonna get her back on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna be okay. Meredith, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Although we had tech issues at the beginning, we're so very grateful and thankful to you for sticking with it, because this was a good and necessary show to have, and we hope to maybe have additional conversation about it in the future. Mm-hmm. If people want to find you, locate you, ask you questions, where can you be found, my dear?
I can be found on YouTube as well as Instagram. And thank you so much, ladies, for having me. I appreciate the invitation. But I am at Meredith Hurston on all platforms. YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. So, find me.
Absolutely. And y'all make sure you go follow another brown girl like us who's doing really creative and cool things. Listen, I saw her graphics on her Facebook page, y'all. They're superior. Like, I'm not even lying. That's what made me just want to reach out to her. I was like, okay, she's got to be the one on the show to talk about AI. We definitely have to have Meredith on the show.
Thank you. Yeah, I love Stable Diffusion. That's my favorite AI generator. That's how I create my graphics.
You can turn this one around and get her to start loving AI too.
That's just like our son trying to get me to like EVs. I refuse. I don't even want to work on an EV.
It's okay. We're gonna work on her.
That's just for you.
It's like, I'm not interested. It's okay though. Don't be resistant. To all of our fans and friends and family members, thank you so much for tuning in on our last episode of season 11. We are going to take a much necessary break, the two of us. We've been going kind of strong and hard and doing multiple things at one time. So you will not see us until August. I know it's a really long time.
But you can go and get the recap on our show.
Absolutely. You can definitely go to our YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook and check us out at That's Life Podcast with Leah
and Sean.
And make sure that you support us two brown girls doing great things. As you know, we close our show with a Bible verse and, of course, a quote. I'm going to actually do the quote of the night, and Miss Sean is going to do the Bible verse of the night.
So, changing everything up on me.
Absolutely. So our quote of the night comes from Feifei Lee. Mm-hmm. Artificial intelligence, even though I won't say artificial, augmented intelligence is not a substitute for human intelligence. It is a tool to amplify human creativity and imagination. Mm-hmm. So just remember that when you're doing all things.
I'll support that.
Take it away with the Bible verse.
Bible verse from Proverbs 18 and 15. An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in as we talk about AI. We love you. We'll see you in August. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.